talked about the Sirksey for a while, mostly because I didn't really do enough research at the start, and there are still some issues I need to untangle. But I saw a prompt on Pastel Gnome's Discord server that got me thinking, so here's some more Sirksey stuff. In the summer, people live in sedentary villages with their summer family, which is maternal. There's enough resources around that they can hunt, fish, farm and forage in one place. They store some food for winter, but that's only enough to support a very small population, those who are unable to travel for one reason or another. So after a big autumn festival, most people disperse into small mobile groups and move around looking for resources. This group is called the winter family. Men and children go with their father's family, while women go with their male partners. In the east, which is slightly warmer, there are always birds on the islands, even in winter. But in the west, birds migrate away during the winter, and the beginning of spring is signalled by their return. The first feather of spring means that winter's nearly over. So small children, from the ages of about 3 to 7, will occasionally go out with their parents as they hunt or fish or forage, searching for the first feather of spring. This gets them familiar with winter activities while keeping them occupied enough to not get in too much trouble. It's a good excuse to get them out with their parents and learning skills. Most importantly, it helps children bond with their father. In a baby's first winter, they'll usually stay in the village with their mother, and won't meet their father except maybe briefly in autumn. So they don't really get to know their father for a while. The feather hunt is a good way for them to bond. The child who finds the first feather, and yes, it's always a young child, is fussed over and praised, and is said to be lucky for the rest of the year. They show the feather to the head of the winter family, who's able to identify it and figure out its meaning. White feathers are really lucky, because they represent the return of sunlight. Grey feathers are extra lucky, because they represent the melting ice. Black feathers are super lucky, because they represent the soil poking through the snow. And for the rest of the year, the child will wear that feather sewn onto their belt, and it will grant them luck in everything they do. Very young children often get this praise for finding a feather at all, even if it's not the first of the year. But as children get older, and more socially aware, things change. Everybody has a fire inside them, and that fire is fueled by interaction and affection. Young children are like flames that have only just been lit, and they need to be constantly cared for and given affection to make sure their fire grows. But older children's flames are already burning strong. They don't need that much fuel anymore, and now they need to be taught how to share their warmth as part of a community. This change usually happens when the child is 6 to 8, but it really depends on their maturity. They notice that often, it's adults who find the first feather, and instead of getting excited about it, they'll just quietly tuck it into their pocket and leave it somewhere where the younger children will find it. When adults are deciding where to move or hunt next, they talk about things like the thickness of the ice, or the first sighting of birds, rather than the first feather. Never in front of the younger children, of course, but they pretend they don't hear the older children listening in. If an older child does proudly present the first feather to an adult, they'll get a little quiet praise, but nothing more, and will be told to hide it for the younger children. They might resent it a bit, but they're at an age where they want to be treated more like adults. They might still enjoy being fussed over really, but now it seems embarrassing and childish to receive all that attention and affection without repaying it, and figuring all of this out makes them feel smart, like they're in on an adult secret. The feathers never really mattered. But when a girl gets closer to adulthood, she stops spending her winters with her father, and starts spending it with potential husbands. When it's time for a daughter to leave her father's winter family, he'll often collect as many spring feathers as he can and sew them onto her cloak, to wish her a whole lifetime of luck.